I go on X, and I'm going on, and I'm looking to see what the liberals are saying, and they're at a. I don't know if this is a scare tactic that they're trying to run, but all it does is make me want Trump in there yesterday. They're talking about who Trump is talking about picking to be his attorney general. So, and they think that the person they named is going to scare people into not voting for Trump. Now, I'll tell you who they're trying to panic their people with in a moment, okay? This is beautiful. I love it. But what we're going to get now is they don't have anything to use against Trump. They've been going after him for 9 years. There's nothing they can come up with, and nobody believes them anymore. But here's what they're panicking their people with. They're saying that President Trump is going to make Judge Eileen Cannon the Attorney General. Now, for those that don't know, Judge Cannon is the Trump-appointed judge here in Florida that tossed out Jack Smith's criminal documents case against President Trump. And they're promoting that this is a payoff that he's giving Judge Cannon in exchange for her having dismissed the case. Now, a couple things about this. First of all, I would love Judge Cannon to be the Attorney General. I think she knows what these people are all about, and she knows how criminal Jack Smith and Merrick Garland are since she tossed out that entire case. So I would be perfectly comfortable with her being the pick. I don't think that's true. I think that's just some scare tactic that the Democrats are making up. So what the October surprises are becoming are just the Democrats making a bunch of crap up and throwing it to the wall and trying to get something to stick. This is really a desperate move. And welcome, by the way. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And, you gotta love it. I'd asked this question today. They had this bullcrap story yesterday that Trump admires Hitler and studies Hitler's speeches, and then Camala came out with that obscene statement yesterday about Trump and Hitler, and then they tried this stupid Epstein crap with this ex-model from '93, and now they got this. And the question I was asking today, and maybe you could let me know in the chat. If you look over the history of all this garbage that they've done against President Trump over the last 9 years, none of which has been true, of course, every time they have something, whether it's this Hitler crap yesterday, the Epstein crap, or back to the Mueller report, or trying to get his tax returns, no matter what it is, the documents case, no matter what it is, what they tell themselves, Fulton County, is this is going to be it. This is what's going to get those MAGA crazies to jump off that Trump train. They'll abandon Trump over this. And this is the question. Is there anything that you could possibly manufacture out of your wildest imagination that could come out about Trump from these fake newsers that would get you off the Trump train? I don't think there is. First off, obviously if you were just to make up something and it were true, is there anything you could think of that would get you off the Trump train? And I've got a wild imagination, and I cannot even fathom something like that. But Charlie Kirk last night at the Turning Point event, he had a great speech last night, Charlie Kirk. He said they're not just going to give up. These General Kelly and Comey, all these, they're not just going to say, well, Trump's got this thing, we're going to give up. This is going to be, 12 days of crap. Like this Eileen Cannon as Attorney General. Even if that were true, I mean, I can't think of anyone I would trust more in the legal field right now than Eileen Cannon, Judge Cannon. Yeah. A cult of America, loving America. Harris, who's Harris? You mean Kamala? 2024, the rise of the great MAGA king. That's right. Remember what Tucker Carlson said last night? Daddy's coming home and he's pissed. No, I could not fathom anything in my mind that would turn us against Trump and get us off the Trump train. So far as this cult thing that they're obsessed with, somebody just said 80 million people isn't a cult. That's last time. Right now it's over 100 million. You know, if you want to call the MAGA movement, I got to hold the camera here because I'm live streaming on my phone. I'm getting ready to go over some bumpy railroad tracks. I don't want it to fall. I got it hanging off of my windshield on one of those sticky things. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. You know, as large as the MAGA movement is, you know, a cult is a small group. It's not the majority. So, as large as the MAGA movement is today, you're in a cult if you're not in it, right? If you're not MAGA, you're in the cult. Because you've got such a small little group. Well, thank you, Kingman. I appreciate it. You know, not one liberal called today. Isn't that something? Not one Democrat called me on the show today. If you're new, by the way, subscribe to my channel. Because they're in a depression. What are they going to say? This Trump miracle, it just blows my mind. It really blows my mind how well President Trump is doing with everything. They shot him in the face. They've arrested him. They got a mugshot. Fake civil lawsuits. Fake criminal convictions by criminal judges. All that. And he's still coming back. Which of these days do you think will be most exciting? Trump's re-election, when he's declared the victor, or Inauguration Day, Trump's second Inauguration Day. Which of those two will be the most exciting to you? They're both going to be exciting, but which will be the big? You know, Inauguration Day is going to have a lot of action. He's going to get right to it on minute one, not day one, minute one. I'd like to see him skip the parade and all that and just get to work. We've got 4 short years. We only have 1 term left of Trump. We got to get moving quick. We don't have time. We don't have time for the inaugural parade, right? By the way, you know, yesterday that story broke about this Iranian spy at the Pentagon that gave the Israeli battle plans to the enemy. Did I miss this, or did it not happen? Did the feds arrest that Iranian spy working at the Pentagon? Did she report to work yesterday and today? This Iranian spy at the Pentagon, what happened to her? Is she still on the job? I didn't hear anything about her getting arrested. To my knowledge, she's not been arrested. And I don't think she fled to Iran, did she? How can you be a spy for Iran leaking battle plans and not be arrested? How'd that happen? What did I miss? Yeah. Why was she not arrested? No time for inaugural parades, no time for inaugural balls. We just need to get MAGA to work. You know, for us to have Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, this is amazing. You know, you look at Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, and they are a representation of the red pilling that's been going on over the last year in this country. Both of them ran for president as Democrats, right? Tulsi and Bobby Kennedy both ran for president as Democrats, and here they are backing Trump. You know, you've got two people, in particular Bobby Kennedy, but you've got two people there with Tulsi and Bobby Kennedy. Their whole life is wrapped up in the Democrat Party. Gigi, thank you for that super chat. I'll look at what you wrote in just a bit because I'm driving. Their whole life is wrapped up in the Democrat Party. For them to get red-pilled and leave the Democrat Party like they've done is so historic. And when you have two people whose entire life and career is wrapped up in the Democrat Party, and they've been red-pilled like Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, can you imagine what it's like for just regular people that vote Democrat, how many have been red-pilled? You know, Bobby and Tulsi, they lose friends, and I mean, look at what happened to Bobby Kennedy. His own family came out and denounced him as a MAGA crazy. Gigi says, who is his possible AG pick? I mentioned it earlier. The liberals are trying to scare people into, they're trying to create a scandal that President Trump is going to make Judge Cannon his attorney general. She's the judge of the documents case that tossed it out as a payoff to tossing out the documents case. That sounds like a good idea. We know she's not a part of these evil people. No more old. Camala Harris turned 60 years old on Sunday. She's a baby boomer. She's an old lady. She's a 60-year-old lady. So this young Kamala, I know Kamala's trying to pass herself off as 45, but she turned 60 on Sunday. She's an old lady. So this whole thing that you want young people, that just doesn't seem to make too much sense if you're supporting her. People, I haven't heard Trump say anybody. That Kash Patel, whoever he picks will be fine. The Turkey, yeah, her neck says otherwise. Her and Martha McCallum have a common bond over the necks. You know, Martha on Fox. Doesn't it feel good though? I was so energized by that Turning Point event. She's the last year of the baby boomer. 1964 she was born. She turned 60 years old on Sunday. Well, she'll be retired in 12 days. After she loses, she's probably going to go on a big drinking bender. We may not see Kamala for a while. She's going to disappear and get drunk. Oh, what a beautiful day in Florida. Trump must be home in Florida because there's not a cloud in the sky. And when Trump came out did you guys watch Trump's speech last night in Georgia at Turning Point? Did he not look great? His skin looked awesome. He looked great, and he didn't look like he had a worry in the world, and he had a lot of confidence. He came out, he looked great, and he just takes his butt, after he walks out, after Lee Greenwood's done, he comes up and he just unsnapped a button on his jacket very casually. He looked like Joe freaking badass cool. Because he knows he's got this. The internal polling just must be devastating for the Democrats. Kamala's doing all this desperate stuff. The epic fail town hall, the Bret Baier interview, this stupid Hitler crap that they tried to pull yesterday. when you're in a panic state, which is you don't want to make important decisions when you're in a panic state, an anxiety state. You're making decisions out of fear. And these are big decisions she's making because they're on national television less than 2 weeks before the election. And every decision the Camala Harris team have been making has been bad. And I had a caller today on the show who made a good point. I can't remember who it was that said this, but they called me, but they said that she has not had a good moment on the campaign trail. I know she'll tell herself she won the debate, but she didn't win the debate. The debate was a disaster. I mean, David Muir, when Trump is back, David Muir over on ABC could end up out of a job. Dan Rather was the anchor of CBS when he got fired over what he did with the AWOL Bush story. And Muir is no Dan Rather. Yeah, there's not a cloud in the sky here in Florida. I am due west of Mar-a-Lago right now. Due west of Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to be turning right in a moment. I am turning right on the road that goes directly to Trump Force One in Mar-a-Lago, the road that President Trump himself drives on every time he goes to his plane. East of Mar-a-Lago is the ocean. Mm-hmm. All the gamer trolls, yeah. Well, there'll be counselors on standby, yeah. The Trump derangement syndrome sufferers are, they're going to have breakdowns. They're going to need support groups. But, one of the things I was talking about today on the show is so obvious what's going on. The General Kelly crap yesterday. When you hear them say he's going to lock us up, they're not talking about regular people. They're talking about the permanent Washington class that have been breaking all these laws with the lawfare. Those people are afraid because they've been doing a lot of law breaking, persecuting Trump. And as much as we want to see justice done there, I don't know, does Trump only has 4 years in office left, only one term left. So he's going to make decisions about that. And, I'm going to support always. Whatever Donald Trump says, I'm going to support. I mean, he knows best with these things. But he's got part of what his decision-making process is going to involve so far as prosecuting these lawfare people is, will it bog down his administration where they're not effective on these things that he's got to clean up? When President Trump wins this election, he's going to have a mandate that no president has had since FDR when he was first elected in 1933. And I mean, that was almost 100 years ago. And that's when he pushed through the New Deal. Almost the entire New Deal of FDR, almost all of it was passed in the first 100 days. That's where the 100 days thing became a thing with new presidents. But President Trump is going to have a mandate greater than that. But if you think about it though, when FDR came in was a very similar time to today. I mean, we have social welfare and stuff, and the economy is different. A lot of the country didn't even have electricity back then. But we were in an economic depression, and we're in a very bad economic situation now. So when you're in a bad economic position and a president comes in, they got a mandate to fix it because people want to be able to eat, right? And that's the kind of situation we are in now. I thought Trump looked younger last night. He's the only president that gets younger with the presidency. The stress that he's going through, Mortal men could not carry on like he does. And it's really amazing, this schedule that he's kept. Remember Kamala over the weekend, oh, he's low energy. She took a day off. Why'd she take a day off? Donald Trump, he does, before he does these rally speeches, he's doing these town halls. And those town halls got to drain a lot of you. They would drain a normal person. You're sitting there listening to these, sometimes windbags pontificate too much, and he sits there, and then he leaves and goes and does a rally speech. He's not normal. He is superhuman. He's not like the rest of us. He's not a mortal man. Oh, he looked a lot younger last night. Walls, I'm not sure. We don't have to worry about this too much longer. Is it Walls? Is it Waltz? He is just a weirdo, and his wife is a nutcase. You know, you got to wonder, is Minnesota in play? Could we win Minnesota? I'm a paid actor? I wish. He is creepy. He is very creepy. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. This channel is the most pro-Donald Trump channel you'll find anywhere. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You'll never hear me disagree nor criticize President Trump. I've been saying that for years, and you know, what is there to criticize? You've always got to trust in Trump. You know, when this campaign was first starting, I told people, I said, you know, you got to follow and do whatever Trump says in this election. He knows what's best. He knows more about what's going on than we know. And he's going to support things and people that you may not like, I may not like. But, you know, if Trump approves of them or says this is what we got to do, he knows what he has to do to get reelected. And here we are. Record support. I mean, CNN even reporting that Trump's approval rating is at its highest point ever since he came down the escalator. At no point has his approval rating been as high as it is today. That's CNN, not me. Think about that. It's amazing. How's it possible? Because the American people have been red-pilled. Boy, those people that did the Matrix, they didn't know what they were starting with Neo and Morpheus, with the red pill and the blue pill, but here we are. Or was it green? Was one green? I can't remember. But this country has been so red-pilled. I mean, Kamala's in big trouble when most blacks who are asked say that she's not black. I mean, you know, that's pretty bad. That support she expects to have just because. And black people are saying she's not black. Oh, I'm just excited. Yeah, try not to miss any of these Trump speeches, because this is the last campaign for Trump for himself. He'll always campaign and have rallies as long as he can for the rest of his life, but they'll be for other people, not him. This is the last stretch of Trump rallies for Trump. Now, one thing I brought up at the end of the radio show this morning, I was talking to a caller, and I was pointing out to them that one of the things that Trump is doing in a very different way in this campaign is he's not campaigning for other people running for Congress, governors, attorney generals. He's not campaigning for other people. He might bring people up on stage and talk to them or give them a shout out, but he's not like these aren't rallies for them. They're rallies for him. which I think has turned out to be a pretty smart thing for him to do. I mean, if he were not to win, which he's going to win, but if he were not to win, the rest doesn't matter. And maybe that'll be the new way of presidential candidates to campaign. I think it's better. You know, once you start getting in the endorsement business and campaigning for all these down ticket people, and you do too many of them, someone gets involved in some scandal, and all of a sudden they attach that scandal to you, right? Harris. I think Harris is that Kamala? Trump's so right. You say Harris, nobody knows who you're talking about. Now, here's the question about Kamala. Kamala is saying vote for her. Why? What is Kamala promising to do that will make the lives of Americans better? And remember that I don't mean South Americans, I mean United States of Americans. What is Kamala Harris saying? Vote for me. I'm going to make the American lives better because I'm going to do this. What is the this? Fill in that blank. What is she promising to do to make the lives of Americans better? We know what Trump's going to do. He's very specific. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Deduct your auto interest loans from your taxes on American-made cars. Finish the wall, deportation. All these things. Drill, baby, drill. These are all the very specific things. It's going to make all of our lives better in these endless wars. But what's Kamala saying? Vote for me. I'm going to do this, and your life as an American will be better because of me doing this. She's got nothing. Hold on, I will look at your answers. I'm coming up to a red line, so I got a second to look at the chat. Hold on. I think you'll be hard pressed. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Nothing. She's promising to raise taxes. Who the hell runs on raising taxes? Mm-hmm. A tax rebate, how does that help you? That's not giving you anything. You got to have the money to start the business first. How does giving a tax rebate help? It's a tax deduction for a home buy. That doesn't get you. That doesn't get you into the house. You still got to have the money to put down to buy the house. No, that doesn't make lives better. That makes it worse because doing that's just going to drive the price of houses up. Mm-hmm. No, Kamala wants to raise taxes on everybody. She's going to let the Trump tax cuts expire, she says. That's raising everyone's taxes. I own a house. She's going to drive the price of houses up and make them more unaffordable. You know, you hear this talked about a lot because it's so true. The Gen Z generation is the first generation that home ownership is out of reach. I've been a homeowner for a long. The house I live in now, I've lived in 20 years, almost 20 and a half years, right about now. Yeah, 20 and a half years. Going on 21 years. It's my second house. I had a condo before, but this is my second house, my second home that I've owned. And Gen Z, the housing prices are so expensive, they want you to be renters. You know, being a homeowner gives you a lot of financial power and security. You know, I bought my house over 20 years ago. It is worth so much more money than I paid for it that if I chose to sell it, I've got a huge lump sum of cash that I'd be sitting on. Or I could buy a new house and pay cash for it and have a mortgage-free home. If you're always a renter, renting is throwing money away. It builds nothing. You're not building wealth. For most people, home ownership That's their biggest investment, is their home. And real estate is a secure investment that over the course of time always goes up. There's fluctuations in the markets, you know. But over the course, you make good money. I got lucky, coincidentally. I bought my house at a great time. But like my condo, I sold my condo that I had before. My wife and I had a condo, a pretty nice sized condo, 2-bedroom, but it was a nice sized condo. We sold it for twice what we paid for it. A little more than twice what we paid for it. But pretty close to just twice. That's a lot. My house now is worth more than twice what I paid for it if I were to sell it today. Now, there could be a housing crisis, but I don't care because I'm not selling it anytime soon. Or maybe I'll never sell it. I'll leave it to my daughter. But, you know, they've created a generation of renters that are not going to have an opportunity to buy a home. And what they've done to Gen Z, it's an interesting thing. If you hear economists talk about this, I was talking, you know, our travel agent that does our listener cruises. I had an interesting conversation with him last week about this. And, you know, Gen Z is much different. Since home ownership is out of reach, what they've decided is to what money they have, they pay for experiences, right? Oh, let me go to Europe. Let me take a Napa Valley wine tour, you know. And that's all fun, but once you take the trip, it's over. They're not building future wealth. And you know, one thing you hear a lot of liberals talk about, in particular black liberals, they talk a lot about generational wealth. Generational wealth. You know? Generational wealth can be many things, but for most people, generational wealth is the family home. So, like, as an example with me, okay? With my home, I'm not even talking about my parent, right? But my house, I'll do one or two things. When I retire, which I'll probably never fully retire, I could sell it and pay cash for a new home, or I could just stay here for the rest of my life. When I die, no matter which of those scenarios, my daughter is going to inherit a house, whether it's this house or another house, right? That's generational wealth. Gen Z, since the home ownership is out of reach, now, of course, a lot of people will invest in stocks or crypto and things like this, but they won't have that house, that security of a home. You know, like my mother is retired and a widow. She paid her house off before my stepfather died. So my mother she's retired, she's a fixed income, and she's got a mortgage-free home because she is a homeowner. You know, Gen Z, they don't have the generational wealth, and that's what the Democrats want. They don't want you to have generational wealth. They want you to be dependent on them, the government. They don't want people to be financially independent. That's one of the reasons so many blacks have become Republican, because over the past 15 or 20 years, the black middle class, the black upper middle class, the black rich upper class has exploded in numbers. They're homeowners, they're business owners. They now have that generational wealth for themselves and to pass on to their children and grandchildren. And Gen Z just doesn't have that. And I find with Gen Z is very entrepreneurial, like my generation. Millennials are just hopeless, like AOC and Mayor Pete. And the Gen Z vote, the youth vote, is going MAGA for Trump like nobody's business. And Charlie Kirk, what Charlie Kirk has accomplished is amazing. President Trump's doing an event at a university in Arizona. I don't know if it's Arizona State, University of Arizona, one of the big Arizona universities. Trump's doing an event. That's Charlie Kirk has converted the youth vote to MAGA, to Republican. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. The Democrats have had the youth vote forever, and they've lost it. But if you did not watch the Turning Point event yesterday, go back and watch, of course, President Trump, but watch Charlie Kirk's speech, watch Tucker Carlson's speech, and Bobby Kennedy. I did miss Tulsi Gabbard's speech. I did not see Tulsi Gabbard yesterday. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. But those speeches yesterday, Trump, Charlie Kirk, Tucker, and Bobby Kennedy spelled out the whole MAGA movement. They all hit on every aspect of the MAGA movement and why things are so important. Bobby Kennedy, he talks a lot about how these big donors and lobbyists have taken over politics, and he talks a lot about things that are just blow your mind. But Tucker Carlson brought up some things that I had not really, it's all out there, we're seeing it, we're living through it, but sometimes when you're living through something, you don't really, you don't have time to slow down and think about things, you miss things. And Tucker Carlson made some brilliant points yesterday. He was talking to, the Republican establishment are the neocons, those warmongers that lied about weapons of mass destruction. And he said the neocons have become Democrats. Cheney, the Bushes, the Romneys, the neocons have become Democrats because Trump's taken over the Republican Party. The Republican Party is MAGA now. The Trump family took over the RNC, so they become Democrats. The neocons are now the Democrat Party. There's been a party switch in some respects because we have lifelong Democrat Tulsi, lifelong Democrat Bobby Kennedy, and many others in the MAGA movement now. And that was amazing. But he talked about what Bush and Cheney did with destabilizing the Middle East, and he talked about some of the negative impacts of it that I had not thought about too much. The line about weapons of mass destruction, these war criminals, caused this mass exodus of people from the Middle East to Europe. And Europe has been completely destabilized because of the Muslim immigration into Europe. And that's true, and that's what inspired Brexit, to get out of that. Once you're in Europe, you could travel between the EU countries without a passport, without anything. I mean, Bush and Cheney, what they did with the endless war with Afghanistan and the WMD lie, we're going to be feeling the impacts of that for 100 years. They're terrible people. Terrible people. I mean, for Liz Cheney to sit around and campaign next to Camala Harris and call herself a constitutional conservative, does she even hear herself? Think about that. If you're the Cheneys and the Bushes will tell you that they're conservatives, right? Low taxes, small government, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment. If all that's true, how can they be supporting Kamala Harris, who wants to take your guns away, raise all your taxes, and have abortion available on demand at every point of a pregnancy? It's insanity. Trump's a threat to democracy? They shot him. But he's the threat. What Kamala did yesterday with that Hitler speech was criminal. Just criminal. There's a small helicopter flying over here doing weird stuff. It's one of those helicopters that doesn't have doors in it. There's no way in hell I'd be up in a helicopter without doors in it. No freaking way. I know you're strapped in, but no freaking way would I be flying in that thing. Would you? It's like hanging off the side of a building that's moving. Forget about it. When Trump wins, election night, because CNN has been really hard on Kamala. I mean, that town hall last night with Anderson Cooper and Kamala was devastating to Kamala. No doubt about it, right? CNN did that. CNN forced Biden out of the presidential race. CNN wants the Democrats to lose. No doubt about it. When you see what they did last night, what they did to Biden during that debate, they want the Democrats to lose. And on election night, here's the question. The CNN decision desk, will they hold back calling states? Or are they going to call them quick? And are we going to see in the Eastern time zone failures in the blue wall? We may get an early decision and an early call on election night coming from CNN. I mean, not only did Anderson Cooper humiliate Kamala with his questioning and even his follow-ups last night at the town hall, the people that they set up to ask her questions just exposed her. I mean, she told the one guy, she confirmed with the one guy that grocery prices are out of control high under her and Biden's run here. I mean, Anderson Cooper was practically laughing at her. And their analysis after was pretty clear that she didn't answer the questions. I am out of water. I'm thirsty. I'll wait till I get home. That's why I'm choking. I drank a lot of coffee this morning. The caffeine dehydrates you. Go home and have my angel water. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video. Now, what would you give? Give me a T or a K. T is for Trump. K is for Kamala. Who's going to win? T for Trump, K for Kamala. T for Trump, K for Kamala. Who's going to win? Yeah, see a lot of T's in there, exactly. I mean, you look at all the major credible pollsters, they're all giving it to Trump. And, a lot of the battleground states are in the Eastern and Central time zone. Exactly. Look at all those T's. A lot of T's. Not too many K's in there. So early on, when these battleground states start getting called for Trump, that's going to be it. Going to be it. And there's no doubt that there's going to be a blue state or two that go red. No doubt. Do you guys agree with that? There's got to be. The early voting is amazing. So Republicans have record high voter turnout in early voting nationwide. Democrats have record low turnout nationwide. And a lot of those Democrats are voting for Trump. It's over for them. And our turnout is so strong in early voting, we know we're going to have a big turnout on election day. We're going to be millions of votes ahead on Election Day from all of this early voting. No, it doesn't. It does not get better than this, guys. It's a miracle. It is an absolute miracle. I can't wait. Cannot wait. And you know, when when President Trump is president-elect again in 2 weeks, things are going to move fast. Then, that's when day one begins. We're gonna find out who's going to be secretary of everything. He'll be drafting up the executive orders. He'll be meeting with the Congress. This lane is closed ahead. I got to get back over. Now, last time when he was president-elect, when he won in 2016, he did all this at Trump Tower. Now it'll be at Mar-a-Lago. There'll be a camera. Remember they used to have that camera? That was a stationary pool camera in the lobby of Trump Tower in front of the elevators, so we would see everybody that was coming in to meet President-elect Trump. This time there's going to be a camera outside of Mar-a-Lago. We're going to see them driving in. Well, thanks everyone for watching, by the way. Misinformed people, yes, otherwise known as Democrats. You voted for Trump yesterday, the American dream. Awesome. Loser, you're talking about Camala Harris and Tim Walz? This guy next to me is driving and he's texting and he's looking at his phone and laughing, and he's an older guy. What a jerk. I would rather be on a road filled with drunk drivers than a road filled with texting and driving drivers, because at least the drunks are looking at the road, you know? What would you be safer on I-95 filled with drunks or filled with texters? I think you'd be safer with I-95 filled with drunks. I mean, you'd rather have neither. I mean, you know, you're not safe with either. I'm about safer. I say the drunks. And, you know, Kamala, they asked her again any regrets or something she would do differently from the Biden administration. And still, all this time later, she's not been able to think of a single thing. There has never been someone as incompetent and as stupid nominated from one of the major parties like this at the top of the ticket. You can get away with being this vacuous when you're the bottom of the ticket, but not the top. People look for you for answers, for leadership. And she's got nothing. It's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, you can feel the energy. All the MAGA people are happy. Just a wave of depression. Among the left. What Anderson Cooper did last night with Kamala was really one of the worst things you can do to a politician. Maybe even the worst thing. He was ridiculing her. You said walls were stupid. Do you still think they're stupid? You know, I mean, those kind of things, that's ridicule. He was ridiculing her, Anderson Cooper. And he's no fan of Trump because the deep state want the Democrats to lose. I've been telling you guys this. They pushed out Biden, and now they're making sure she's in trouble. been pretty good. I've hardly gotten stopped by any lights. Oh, speed trap up ahead. I see the cop hiding behind the bushes. I mean, I support the police and all, but do police officers really enjoy sitting in speed traps? Maybe some of them do. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that's the reason you become a cop. Seems kind of boring. Luckily, I obey the traffic laws. I have nothing to worry about. I can't believe I've made every single light almost. Now watch, I'll get stopped by all the rest all the way. But brutal. You know, and the day before with Alex Wagner on MSNBC going to Philadelphia and talking to those black women about Camala, and none of them liked her, said she's not black, said she's not competent, say they don't trust her. You know, they just don't, the Democrats, the Kamala camp, they don't understand it. She's a minority woman, and she does not have the support of women or minorities. And if you notice, in the mainstream news, when they talk about polls, right? You don't hear them talking about the suburban moms in the polls. When's the last time you heard them talk about the suburban moms? Because the suburban moms are with Trump. If she had those suburban women that they're always talking about in the polling and cable news, believe me, they would tell you. I know the suburban women are with Trump because they're not highlighting that anymore. Chris, $5 super chat, thank you. I'll read what you wrote there in a minute when I stop. I got a red light's got to catch me sometime soon, and I'll look at your super chat. This is the first election that I can remember in a long time where the mainstream media has not talked about the suburban mothers vote, the suburban moms. Another light. It's almost like the lights are turning green for me, paving a path. My goodness. Oh yeah, you got to wear your MAGA hats, guys. Unless you're going to a restaurant, I understand. I take mine off when I go to order food. I'm trying to get stopped by a red light so I can read the chat. Okay, here we go. We're not the evil empire. We stop the evil by becoming the United States and fighting against the evil. That's Chris with his $5 super chat. Again, thanks for that super chat. And you are correct. Mnuchin called Trump an idiot. Yeah. Well, they're just in a panic. I mean, think about it. If you're part of this permanent Washington class that's been leading this lawfare against Trump with all these crimes, and he's coming back in less than 2 weeks, you'd be scared too if you had Johnny Law on your tail and you've been doing a lot of crime. right? That's what's going on. They're afraid they're going to get arrested because of all the crimes they've been committing. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, all right? Everyone who's already subbed, please like the video, all right? I'm going to take off. I will see you